You ever notice how in the NFL, certain dates just hit different? March is all hype, free agency frenzy, big names flying off the board. April, that's the draft circus, but June 1st, that's the one that sneaks up on people. It doesn't make headlines, it doesn't trend on Twitter, but if you're plugged into the business side of football, post June 1st is when things really start to shake loose. And for the Las Vegas Raiders, that date just became extremely relevant. Because as of June 2nd, the Raiders are now sitting top 5 in the entire NFL in available cap space. That's not clickbait, that's real money. And it changes everything. So the question is, what now? Do we chase a big fish? Do we extend our own guys? Do we stay patient and wait for value to shake free as other teams scramble? That's what today's about. I'm breaking down what the Raiders should and shouldn't do with all this new financial flexibility. And yes, we're going to talk about Tyreek Hill. We're going to talk about Colton Miller, Jakobi Meyers, Daniel Carlson, and everyone in between. So buckle up. What's up, buddies? Welcome back. If you are new here, make sure you hit the subscribe button. We cover all AFC West news here on this channel. Let's start right where this kind of decision-making always should. Take care of your own house first, because it's easy to get distracted by shiny names in free agency or blockbuster trade rumors. But if you've got foundational guys in your building right now and they're entering the final year of their deal, you handle that. And to the Raiders' credit, that's exactly what they just did with A.J. Cole. Now, I get it. It's a punter. Nobody's buying jerseys. Nobody's making TikToks. But you know what else A.J. Cole is? The best at what he does. And the Raiders made him the highest paid punter in the league. That move sends a clear message. We value consistency. We reward performance, and we're trying to build something stable. That's not nothing. But A.J. Cole's extension is just the first domino. So, let's talk about the rest. And first up is Colton Miller. Miller's been that rare breed of Raider. Low-key, no drama, shows up, protects the blind side, and keeps it moving. He's not perfect. Nobody is. But the guy plays one of the most important positions in football. And he's been doing it well enough to keep us out of the disaster zone at left tackle, which, if you've watched the rest of the league, you know is not something to take for granted. But here's the thing. Miller has had some injury issues. He's missed time. And if we're being honest, he's not dominant like Trent Williams or a Laramie Tunsil. So, do you give him 4 more years? Probably not, but a 2-year extension with a solid guarantee? That's smart business. You lock down the most premium protection spot on the field without overextending yourself. That's how you build long-term. Then there's Jakobi Meyers. And I gotta be real with you. I think he might be one of the most underappreciated players in the league right now. Last year, over 1,000 yards, 8 touchdowns, 0 drops. Let me repeat that. 0 drops. In a year where the quarterback situation was a mess and we were rotating guys in and out like it was a preseason game, Meyers was the one dude who you knew was going to run his route, get separation, and make the play. He's not a WR1, and that's fine. But as a WR2, he's about as reliable as they come. The kind of guy who makes your offense function, especially if you're trying to build chemistry with a new quarterback like Geno Smith. You need guys who understand spacing, timing, and leverage. That's Meyers. Lock him up now before some other team comes sniffing around next March. And then finally, there's Daniel Carlson. 8 years with the team. Still nails from deep. Still calm under pressure. And still somehow flying under the radar. I'll say it right now. If you're in a division where games are gonna come down to 1-possession margins, you better have a kicker you trust. Carlson's that guy. Pay him. Period. Now, if I had to rank them, I'd go Colton Miller first, Jakobi Meyers second, Carlson third. But honestly, you can mix that order up however you want and I wouldn't complain. The point is, keep the core intact. That's how you win in this league. Not just by acquiring stars, but by keeping the glue guys who hold everything together. And now, let's talk about the big, messy, headline-grabbing elephant in the room, Tyreek Hill. Yeah, I saw the report too. Raiders named as a top trade destination for Tyreek Hill if Miami makes a move after June 1st. And listen, I'm not going to lie. It's tempting. I mean, who wouldn't want to see Hill in silver and black, lining up next to Bowers and Myers, with Ginty in the backfield, and Geno airing it out? That's a Madden offense. That's video game stuff. But here's where I pump the brakes. Tyreek Hill is 31. He's expensive. And his production last year dipped. Was it all his fault? No. Injuries at quarterback, scheme changes, and the usual Miami weirdness probably played a role. But still, you're not trading for the same guy who dropped 1,700 yards in 2022. And more importantly, you're inheriting a massive contract for a guy whose best years might be behind him. Unless, and this is key, Miami eats a chunk of that money. If they're willing to do that and all we're giving up is a third or fourth rounder, that changes the conversation. Suddenly, you're not mortgaging the future. You're just renting a Ferrari for a couple seasons, and let's be honest, Pete Carroll knows how to manage personalities. If anyone can get the best out of Tyreek without it turning into a circus, it's Pete. He handled Marshawn, Sherman, DK, Russ, and he won with all of them. So don't tell me he couldn't handle Hill. That said, I still think this move only makes sense if the young guys fail to show up. Trey Tucker and Dante Thornton. If either one of them can develop into that vertical threat we need, then you don't need Tyreek. Let the kids play. Let the system breathe. But if you hit week 3 and it's clear that Geno's got no one to take the top off, then you make that call. And look, sometimes you make that move just to block your rivals. You really want Tyreek going to Denver, or worse, to the Chargers to pair with Herbert. No thank you. I'd rather be proactive than reactive. Now let's talk about the other use of this post-June 1st money, plugging roster holes. 2 spots jump out to me, cornerback and linebacker. At corner, we've got some young talent, but nothing proven. Mike Hilton is still out there. Marcus Peters is floating around. Even Jair Alexander could be a trade target if Green Bay decides to blow things up. I'm not saying you break the banks for cheers, but you don't go into camp assuming your rookies are going to carry the load either. Same thing at linebacker. That room has question marks all over it. And while I know fans love the idea of a cheap, homegrown group, the truth is, this defense is going to be on the field a lot. You need depth. You need rotation. You need someone who's done it before. Could we trade for a linebacker? Yeah, and honestly, that might be the better play. You might get better value there than just throwing money at a vet on the back end of his career. And look, this is why having top 5 cap space matters. It gives you the freedom to be flexible. You don't have to panic. You don't have to overspend. You can let the market settle, evaluate your own guys through camp, and make moves when it's clear what you need. That's how winning teams operate. And before I wrap this up, let's not forget, this is still very much a transition year. New coach, new quarterback, new philosophy. What we're building isn't just for 2025, it's for the next 3 to 5 years. So whatever we do with this money, it has to reflect that timeline. No short-sighted panic buys, no desperation moves. This isn't the John Gruden / Mike Mayock Raiders anymore. This is Pete Carroll and John Spytek. These guys know what they're doing, at least so far. So let's give them space to operate and let's hope they stay patient and strategic. All right, that's it from me. If you're still watching, respect. Now, I want to hear from you. Who should the Raiders extend first? Miller, Meyers, or Carlson? Are you even remotely interested in Tyreek Hill? Or is that just clickbait noise? And what's the one position group that still makes you nervous heading into training camp? Drop it all in the comments. I'm reading every one of them. And if you've got a dark horse free agent or trade target we haven't talked about yet, throw that in too.